What is going on, nerds and nerdettes? It's your boy, Stevie B. And oh my gosh, two of the biggest lists in history drop at the same time. What are the odds of that happening? Of course, I'm talking about the CGC list, not the Epstein Islands list. The CGC list has finally dropped. 350 books or so affected. And man, I scrolled through that list, and it's about what I thought. You're not seeing the store exclusive books on there, and the ratio books. You're seeing high dollar books that are on this list. Multiple copies of ASM 300 in a 9.8, 252 to 9.8. There is even a AF-15 signed by Stan Lee in a mid-grade. That's a six-figure book all day long on there. And, excuse me, I'm a little stuffed up. But the list is just endless. And here's my thing is, I just still think, especially, there's a Amazing Spider-Man #1. There's first appearance of Thor. Multiple copies of Hulk 181. Multiple copies of New Mutants 98. And my question is if your book is on that list, are you going to send it in? I mean, it depends, I guess, on what they deem as being reasonable compensation. Are they going to recoup all your losses if you paid for that book? If you bought an AF-15 signed by Stan Lee for $100,000, are they going to recoup that money to you? Man, I'm starting to think that the best case scenario you could hope for is they'll regrade it, reslab it for free, and work out some kind of settlement for you. But I don't think you're going to get. I don't think they're going to shell out $100,000. They may say, well, this book at this grade is worth this much. Well, the grade that was misrepresented would be worth this much. Let's find some middle ground in there to recoup your losses. But if you paid $100,000 for that book, and I mean, I don't see them bridging that gap between what it's worth after they grade it and what you paid for it. It just, because that's going to cost them millions of dollars. There's millions of dollars of books in there on this list. I mean, it's not just I know it seems like a drop in the bucket compared to how many books they've graded. And I got the comment, and this is what baffles me, is CGC continues to be controversial in their processes with acetate gate, with whatnot and whatnot sellers, and pay for grade controversies and stuff like that. They continue to be in the spotlight for these controversies. They continue to be exposed for shady practices, and people will still dig their heels in and defend that company to the end. One person commented and said, well, yeah, they're just shining a spotlight on the one that got caught because they got caught, but they don't tell you about all the ones that were caught before that didn't get publicized, and equated it to like they report shootings. They'll report all the shootings that made the news, but they don't report all the criminals that have been stopped. They don't report that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that they probably caught a bunch of scammers that that aren't made public. I'm sure that that's happened, but again, you take a high crime area and all the shootings are reported in that area, and then you think, well, yeah, but they don't report how many people they've caught. I'm still not walking through that area at night by myself. You know what I mean? Just because they've probably caught more that didn't get shot or thrust in the public spotlight. Just because they've caught more of those people, and that this might be a snapshot of the broader picture of scammers that have tried to get through there. Just because that might be true, I'm still not. I still don't trust them. I still don't trust them. And yes, I was told my opinion is biased. I can't argue that. I've never been a fan of them. Never will be a fan of them. I'm simply pointing out these are the reasons why I'm not a fan, and you need to consider these things. Take these things into consideration. People are blinded by dollar signs. And no, not everyone that uses CGC use them to flip books. Never said that. There are some people out there that just like plastic cases and labels. And that's fine if that's what you're into. Nobody's looking down their nose at you for buying CGC books. I'm just saying I would use caution. If you're going to keep them for your PC, you never intend to sell them or flip them, then do you. But it's the high dollar books that concern me. The huge list of ASM 300s that were on there to 9.8. Man, if you own a 9.8 ASM 300, your chances aren't good. You know what I mean? Now, if you went out and you bought, one of the 9,000 variant covers from Perillo of Supergirl or whatever, and you got it, and you bought it in a slab of a 9.8, you're probably safe. It's probably really a 9.8. Nobody's going to go out of their way to try to scam someone out of a $50 book and turn it from a 9.6 to a 9.8 and increase the value by $25. Nobody's going to do that. They're going after the big books. The ones that the difference between a 9.2 and a 9.8 is thousands of dollars, hundreds and thousands of dollars. So those are the ones you should be worried about. And those are the ones, if I were to advise someone, and again, I'm not telling anybody how to collect or how to buy or anything. I'm just giving food for thought. But if I were to advise someone who's considering buying one of those bigger books, an ASM 300, say, I would advise them to buy a nice, clean, raw copy and have it graded yourself. Reason being is that economical. It's economical. You're going to get it for far less price than you would buying one that's already a 9.8. So that's the thing. And second of all, you're going to be able to go through that book, and you're going to be able to see it for yourself. You're going to know, like a New Mutants 98 Mark Jewelers. I would never buy one of them slabs now. I would never buy one that's already slabbed because you don't know. I would buy a raw copy and slab it myself. And that way you know for a fact that Mark Jewelers is in there. If you buy one slab, you don't, there you go. It's questionable now. So that guarantee and that sense of security that CGC sold you on in the beginning, when they told you, you know, even though the word guarantee is in our name, but we don't guarantee that our grades are accurate. I'm just saying. But that insurance policy that they sold you is now in question, and you can't guarantee that that book that you have hanging on your wall with that Mark Jeweler insert has really got that Mark Jewelers insert. You can't guarantee that high dollar book, that ASM 300 you have on your wall is at a 9.8 is really a 9.8, which is another reason. And that's why I'm fine with raw books, and I like the raw books, is because the difference to me between a 9.6 and a 9.8 is so ridiculously small that I don't care. I am from the old school where you used to be able to pick up a comic book and look at it, and wow, there's no spine stresses, no dog ears, everything looks good, all the pages are there. That's a near mint copy. That's a beautiful copy. And we didn't look for thumbprints. We didn't look for, slight little pressable creases and stuff like that. It was a beautiful copy. My ASM 300 that I have on my wall up there. There you go. Is it a 9.8 candidate? Probably not. I mean, I doubt it, but I look it over and I don't see any spine creases or spine breaks or any dog ears or any glaring defects to me. And it's a beautiful copy, and I'm content with that. But I think you're seeing with this whole CGC debacle, I've seen a lot of people posting on there. They're done with graded books, and again, I have said this, and I'll say this again. CGC makes enough money from flippers and sellers that are buying those incentive copies and those ratio copies of books and first appearances. They come out that week and they buy them all up, send them to CGC, have them graded. Now that the turnaround times are 2 weeks, they get them back, and they haven't lost that much. They haven't lost any value. The interest in them is still pretty high. So they get them back, and then they flip them and they sell them. They've got $60 in on it, and they buy these modern day incentives, and they turn around and sell them for $300-$400 while they're still popular, and then when they plummet and you can pick raw copies up for $5, doesn't matter, they made their money. And CGC makes enough money off of those people that the ones that are collecting those high dollar books that are bailing on them isn't going to affect their bottom dollar that much. So they're not going anywhere. All the claims that this is the end of CGC and that CGC is going down, they're just simply not true. It's not going to happen. So rest assured, for those of you that are still digging your heels in and think CGC is the greatest thing ever, you're fine. You're not gonna lose your company. You can still buy your books and hang them on your wall, whatever. They're not going anywhere. But anyway, bottom line to this is the list is out there. That is just the list. 350 books from one specific seller that they caught, that they didn't even catch. Some a random YouTuber caught. So did their job for them. But that's 350 books from one seller. Again, it's foolish to believe that only one person out there has figured out how to scam them this way and has used this. There's probably thousands of books. And again, it's not going to be, it's not going to be those flash in the pan incentives, store exclusive books that are getting popped. It's going to be those. It's going to be those high dollar ones. So be vigilant. Do your research. If you're going to buy a book that's already slabbed, you know, you better do your research and do your due diligence. Again, I would strongly suggest that you buy them raw and slab them yourself. Is it going to be a guarantee if you buy one? Is it a guarantee you're going to get your 9.8 out of it? No. But then again, is it a guarantee that the 9.8 you bought slabbed is really a 9.8? No, not guaranteed. Never was. Even before the scam, it was never guaranteed. So there, again, no such thing as guaranteed grade. It's all subjective. So why not just buy a good high quality, high grade raw copy and do it yourself? Anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling on him. This is probably the last, unless something major blows up in this whole thing. It's probably gonna be the last video I do about it. People are gonna do what they like. Again, the people that have a lot of money invested in CGC comics and they have a huge collection are gonna dig their heels in and defend them till they die. Because if they don't, and then it lessens the value of their collection. So, of course, the people with thousands and thousands of dollars invested in this company are going to protect. They're going to protect their assets, and they're going to stand firm behind CGC. I don't blame them. I mean, if I had a storage building full of CGC comic books, last thing I want to do is jump on the bus and say, these people are scammers, and get that rolling around, because then I won't be able to sell no books. Never be able to sell no books. And much like what happened in the 90s when CGC came around, and these grading companies came around, and all my collection went from being top dollar to being worthless because everybody wanted graded comics. That's what would happen if CGC fell. Now all these people who got graded comics are going to find out, wow, they're just not worth anything anymore. And they're going to protect that. They don't want that to go. They don't want that to go away. They don't want the ability to take their $20 book and sell it for $200 on Whatnot. They don't want that to go away. So they're going to stand behind this company, come hell or high water. And then there's the few little outliers out there that don't sell books, that just love the cases or something good, or they love the illusion that their high grade book that's in there is actually the high grade book. But like I said, hey, if you're collecting store variants and dollar bin books and cases, you're probably safe. If they say it's a 9.8, it's probably a 9.8. You're good. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, share, do all those YouTube things we love for you to do. And that's going to do it for this one. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.